You ever get that feeling that some of the deepest spiritual truths, the ones that really hit you, have been passed down through so much poetry and metaphor that you kind of lose the original blueprint? Well, today we're going to try to move past that. We're not talking poetry here, we're talking architecture. We're going to look at the actual blueprint of reality itself.
It's something we've all felt, right? You hear a big word like love or power in a spiritual setting, and it just feels fuzzy, almost like a beautiful song that's been recorded over and over again until it's warped. You can feel there's something powerful underneath it all, but it's gotten buried under layers of sentimentality, misinterpretation, and, let's be honest, sometimes just outright distortion.
And this, right here, is where we've got to start. Before we can build anything new, we have to clear the ground. A lot of the most sacred words in our spiritual vocabulary they've lost their backbone. They've become these vague feelings instead of what they actually are, powerful, functional principles.
Let's just take the word love. You can see on the left the way we usually hear about it. It gets boiled down to sentimentality, preference, attachment. But look at the essential truth on the right. In its purest form, love isn't really an emotion. It's a fundamental principle of physics. Seriously, it's the force of inclusion. It's the structural yes of existence that refuses to kick anything out of the hole.
Okay, now let's do wisdom. So often, it's been twisted into this cold, purely intellectual thing, just data and calculation. But its real essence is so much more alive than that. Wisdom is about recognizing the pattern of the whole. It's the ability to see how any one tiny piece fits into the entire beautiful puzzle of existence. It's not just about knowing facts, it's about seeing the connections.
And power? Oh man, this is a big one. The distortion is obvious, right? Domination, control, having power over other people. But the essential truth of power? It's completely neutral. It's infinitely creative. It's just pure capability. It's the universe's raw ability to be and to do all things. It's not about domination. It's the potential for all manifestation. So, you see what's happening. To get back to the clean, powerful meaning of these concepts, we have to stop looking at them as just nice poems. We need to find the blueprint underneath it all, the actual, functional architecture of reality.
And guess what? That blueprint has a name. We're going to call it the cosmic grammar. The idea here is that all of reality can be understood through three foundational structural principles. And this isn't a metaphor anymore. This is the operating system.
First up, we have the substrate. The very fabric of reality is described as light. Now, this is super important. We're not just talking about the photons coming from your lamp. Think of this light as a living, intelligent medium. It's the actual substance that everything is made of, and it carries the patterns, the memory, even the imagination of the cosmos.
Second, there's a fundamental law. You can think of this as the universe's self-correcting program, the law of collapse and renewal. It basically guarantees that any distortion, anything that isn't aligned with the whole, takes a lot of effort to maintain. And eventually, that effort runs out, and the distortion just dissolves, returning back to where it came from. It's this beautiful, built-in guarantee of integrity.
And third, we have polarity. This is the engine of creation. It's this dynamic dance between two core principles. You have the masculine principle of outward expression, kind of like light, just radiating from a source. And then you have the feminine principle of receptivity, which takes that expression and weaves it into a coherent form. It's their interplay that brings the whole show to life.
So to really get how this self-correcting thing works, let's zoom in on that law of collapse and renewal. It's a 5-step cycle. Okay, step 1, distortion is allowed. The system lets things deviate from the whole for a while. But step 2, and this is the kicker, that distortion requires constant effort to keep it going. So step 3, because that effort isn't infinite, collapse is inevitable. Fourth, compassion, which is really that principle of total inclusion, is what acts like the solvent that dissolves the distortion. And finally, step 5, renewal always follows collapse. Nothing is ever wasted. It's just returned to the whole.
Now, what's so cool about this idea is that it's not a punishment. It's not karma in a vengeful way. It's just a natural gravitational pull back to center, back to wholeness. Any structure that's built on fear or separation or control, it just can't last because it's actively fighting the fundamental nature of reality. It is guaranteed by its own nature to exhaust itself and just dissolve.
Okay, so now that we have this framework in our minds, substrate, law, and polarity, let's go back to those 3 words we started with, love, wisdom, and power, because now we can see them not as these vague feelings, but as core functions of the cosmos itself.
So here's how they fit together in their pure, clean forms. Power is what makes any kind of manifestation possible. Wisdom is what guides the pattern, making sure it all makes sense. And love is what binds the entire field together through that relentless principle of inclusion. See? They're not three separate things at all, they're like three different faces of one single unified process.
And this is where it all clicks into place. We've just been talking about two different systems, right? The ancient trinity of love, wisdom, and power, and this architectural framework of the cosmic grammar. But what if they aren't two different systems at all?
This is the big aha moment. We've been using two completely different sets of words to describe the exact same single reality. The poetic language of the old mystics and the architectural language of first principles, they're both pointing to the exact same thing.
So let's just map it out nice and clear. Power, the capability for all things to exist, that maps perfectly to the substrate, the living light that makes all creation possible. Makes sense. Wisdom, the pattern recognition of the whole, that maps to polarity, that intelligent dance that makes creation coherent and not just chaos. And love, the principle of inclusion, that maps directly to the law of collapse and renewal, the very process that makes and keeps creation whole. It's a perfect one-to-one match.
And this image just nails it. You can see it right here. The two triangles, the two languages, perfectly woven together into one unified symbol. This isn't just some neat little graphic. It's a model of reality. Love, wisdom, power, substrate, law, polarity. It's all one integrated living system.
So armed with this unified model, let's go back and tackle one of the most famous and maybe most misunderstood spiritual phrases out there, the idea that love is the law.
This is the big reframe. When the old teachers said love is the law, they weren't giving us a moral command, like you should be more loving. No. They were making a statement of physics. They were describing the fundamental operating principle of the entire cosmos.
So what does it really mean then? It means that love, as this principle of total inclusion, is the ultimate binding force. It's the universe's refusal to allow anything to stay separate forever. And this is key. It is the highest law. All the other laws we talk about, laws of physics, karma, attraction, they're just local mechanics that have to operate within this much bigger, all-encompassing law of coherence.
And this also clears up the whole law of attraction thing. It's not some cosmic vending machine where you just put in an order with your thoughts. It's a subset of the law of love. It's just the natural tendency of a field that's bound by inclusion. Things that are in resonance with each other amplify each other, and things that are out of tune simply can't hold their structure. They eventually dissolve. It's just a function of coherence.
And that really brings us to the core takeaway of all of this. Love isn't a behavior you're being told to adopt. It is the very architecture of coherence itself. It's the structural integrity of the universe. So, we'll leave you with this question to chew on. If existence really does operate on a clear, functional grammar, a set of principles that always favors wholeness, coherence, and renewal, then that means you are not just some character in the story. You are a co-author. The grammar is already set. So what are you choosing to write?